Hey, thanks for watching. This is Happy Hour. I'm Nick Boris with Snap Forward, and today we are talking about defining your day. And I gotta mute this. Happy Hour. I'm Nick Boris with Snap Forward, and today. Sorry about that. All right, so today we're talking about defining your day. We're talking about developing that process to begin your day with a set goal in mind, with your ultimate priorities in mind, and getting those done before everything else happens to you. And a lot of it, with every business person, right? Whether you own a $30 million company or you're just starting out running from your business from home, you probably have a problem where there are a million things pulling at you and you never seem to get done what's incredibly important to move your business forward. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about making that process, that daily process happen so things get done and the right things get done. So let's go at it and not waste a whole lot of time here. So define your day, take control and accomplish the important tasks. Ever wonder where the day went? Of course we do. We get to the end of the day and we think to ourselves, this day flew by and I still have a million things to do. I didn't call who I needed to call. I didn't make the sales calls I needed to call. I didn't talk to the employees I needed to talk to. I didn't move that project forward. Whatever it was, we need to make it so that stops happening. Things get in the way. The day feels out of control. We feel like we're at the will of others, whether it's our employees or customers or whatever, and the to-do list keeps getting longer, keeps getting pushed to the next day and the day after that. Why does it happen? We haven't defined our priorities. We haven't defined what's most important to us, and we haven't made it a priority to accomplish our priorities. It's common sense, but it never happens. It doesn't happen, I guarantee, to the majority of the people out there running businesses, unless you are highly effective and you've already done stuff like this. So we have all of our priorities. We have probably the top 1, 2, or 3 things that we need to do in our day. What happens? Well, distractions happen. The employees, Facebook. I mean, how many times do you get an email from one person? It dings. You look over, you start reading an email, and then you see other emails, and the next thing you know, it's an hour later and you didn't finish what you needed to get done on the project or whatever. So let's fix it, right? This is the 30,000-foot view, and we're going to go into a specific way that I've found I can best fix it in my days every day. So, number 1, identify your priorities. What it needs to get done today? What is the one thing that needs to get done today before anything else? Let's identify that. And if you have more than one, great, identify those, but understand that there's one thing that's going to go above all of them. And then identify your most important time of the day, or your most effective time of the day to get your priorities done. So for me, it's early in the morning. It is, I do my professional development before I get in the shower. And then when I'm done with my shower, I get out of the house, I get to the office, and I sit down, and I want to take care. I want to get as quickly to my priorities as possible before other things can encroach upon that. Now, that doesn't mean other things don't pop up. But for me, having my priorities scheduled for the morning, knowing that I'm going to have the most energy, I'm going to be the most clear, and I'm going to have less things distracting me, plus there's fewer opportunities for things to encroach upon it. So if an employee has an issue, if a customer has an issue, that probably happens a few hours into the day. I've already got my priority done. So when the customer issue becomes a priority, or when the employee issue becomes a priority, my other priority's finished already. So I can go and take care of that thing, and I've gotten 2 priorities done, right? Rather than, if I schedule my priority for after lunch, I'm feeling fat, feeling kind of slow, and then the employee issue comes into play, and I have to juggle which one's more important, and one of them's not going to get done, and the next thing you know, the day is gone, and we got to push something until tomorrow. So, for me, it's common sense. For you, it might be different depending on how your schedule goes. You might have client meetings scheduled in the morning, whatever. But for me, I know I need to block off my mornings and get things done as quickly as possible. All right, identify my distractions. So my distractions I've identified are, social media, as it is with probably most people, email, phone calls, and it can be people also. People can be major distractions, and not so much that the phone call is separate, but if they're implanting little things in your head, whether it's, what are you going to do tonight, to, negative thoughts, whatever that might be. Maybe it's employees walking into your office. For me, I batch my emails. I got this from Tim Ferriss, one of the books I read, 4-Hour Work Week, a couple of years ago. You got to batch your emails, respond to your emails all at once, and then when your time's up, you go to do what you got to do. And we know, when we study productivity in the IT business, is that little interruptions that happen to customers, or to our customers, to the end user, little interruptions cause them to fall off track. So if you're in the middle of working on a project, you're deep in thought, and you're working away, and then a ding happens, and you go and look up, it takes a lot of time, 15, 20, 25 minutes, to get back into deep thought and get back into what you were doing and working as efficiently as possible. So it's stopping the distractions, knowing that I'm not going to check my email until a certain time. I'm not going to get pulled away to do something else until a certain time. I am focused on what I need to do right now. Social media, same thing. I mean, how often do you check one, Facebook for 5 minutes? Next thing you know, it's 15 minutes or 20 or 30. So, put that away, set it for a time, maybe make it as part of your reward for accomplishing your priority. Hey, look, I'm at rewards. So, reward yourself for your priority, right? Maybe your reward is a chance to go to the bathroom. Maybe your reward is your chance to look at social media, or your reward is to just take a walk outside and enjoy the sun for 5 minutes and clear your head. Maybe, it could be, if it's been a hard, 3-hour project you've been working on, maybe it's sitting down in your chair and just closing your eyes, meditating. Whatever you need to do, make sure you have a reward built in for accomplishing that priority. Sometimes for me, it's it's a breakfast bar or something. I know I can't have my breakfast bar until I finish what I'm doing, and then so not only am I slowing down how much I'm eating, but I'm also then saying, look, I got to get this done. I'm hungry. I got to get this done, right? So build in little rewards, and have an alarm. Have an alarm that goes off in your head that when, and I'm going to switch here real quick. Have an alarm in your head so that when you're doing something wrong and something's taking too much time, if a conversation is taking too long, if a Facebook time is taking too long, if you're spending too much time on your emails, there needs to be a little virtual alarm clock in your head going, this is wrong, I need to get back to doing what I'm doing. I need to be more productive. I need to take care of my priorities. All of the little things that happen, it needs to become second nature that a little alarm's going to go off. And you have to train yourself for it, but it's incredibly important. And then the last thing on the list here is documenting it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Next week, we're talking about goal setting and documenting goals. And there's different ways we're going to talk about doing it, because, I've played around with different things, and some things work better than others. But you can do a vision board. You can set a year goal, 5-year goal. I prefer to go 6 months and work back from there. We'll get into detail about it. But if you don't have control of your day, how do you accomplish your goals? Do you work on the weekend then? Or do you do something, do you work too late at night? Whatever you got to do. But maybe if we reprioritize our day, if we focus on what our priorities are, we get our goals done, and we get them done early, and then everything else that's not quite so important, or the things that are distracting us that we spend time on inadvertently, maybe those things fall away, and then we have time to do the quality things like spending time with our family, going out for a beer with somebody, which I forgot to mention. Shorts Brew Sticky Icky is what I'm drinking today for happy hour. All of those things that are more beneficial to our lives, maybe we can have more time to put into those when we stop paying attention to the distractions and the things that don't matter. And what we're trying to do here is create a habit, right? A habit of success, a habit of getting things done. A really good book I read a couple of months ago is The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. And it's all about developing that process. And when we can develop this process, and by filling out this sheet that I'm going to go through right now, every morning I fill out this sheet and I go through the process, and it maps your mind to do things in the right order, in the right way, and place the priorities in the right places. And then you start thinking that way, and it becomes habit, and things get done automatically. So that's what we're trying to do. And like habit, when you talk about habit, for me, it's that, when something happens, my kid starts talking to me while I'm getting ready for work, and I don't brush my teeth because I have to go run and get something for them or whatever happens. And then next thing you know, I'm walking out the door going, it doesn't feel right? And I got to run back in the house and brush my teeth because I completely forgot about it. It was out of order. My brain was doing it all on automatic pilot. It got pulled out of that, and then things got all screwed up, and I didn't get done what I needed to get done. That's what we're talking about now. We want to make this automatic. We want to make this as efficient as possible, our day as efficient as possible, so we're using less energy so that we are getting things done more efficiently. So this sheet that I'm going to go through now, the purpose of it is to identify and log vital behaviors to accomplish our most important tasks, and nothing else. Our most important tasks. If we've identified them correctly, we need to get them done. So, the Define Your Day worksheet. I'm showing you this because it has the date at the top. I do one of these every day. Not on the weekends, but I do them during the weekday. I do it every day, and I end up 3-ring bindering them at the end of the week, and I can go back and look, and it's almost a history of my company. It's the things that were priorities that day, the mood I was in. It's actually a little bit interesting for me, not for anybody else. The first thing you got to do is write down your top 3 things. You sit down, you go at, today, if I get nothing else done, priority number 1 needs to get done today, right? We got to get priority number 1 done today. And then I throw in there the tasks that need to happen to get priority number 1 done. Like for today, for instance, happy hour was one of my priorities, getting this done today. So, I need to create the scheduled post. I need to finish this presentation. I need to review it. I need to finish the blog post that's on the website that coincides with this. All of that stuff is done. And then I put a whole number in the little time block there. If it takes 1 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever, I just throw that in there. And that's how much time I allot myself to go through this. And then it's not on the sheet, and then I schedule it on Outlook. But if you have your priority time identified already, then you probably have it blocked off on Outlook already if you're smart. If you can do it in your head, great. I can't. And then I go through priority number 2. Once priority number 1 is done, I move on to priority number 2, unless something happened that made it priority number 1. And then priority number 3 sometimes isn't even identified. Sometimes there isn't a priority. Other times, priority number 3 might get kicked to tomorrow, and priority number 3 becomes priority number 2 or 1. So these are the things you got to get done. You got to commit to getting them done. You got to find your optimal time to get them done efficiently, and when you have the least amount of distractions, and you got to analyze it at the end of the day why it didn't get done. Didn't it get done because it wasn't important enough, or because you didn't schedule it enough, or something made you distracted? Whatever it was, why didn't it get done? So the next thing I call the vital behaviors, and these are the things that no matter what my day looks like, no matter what I have going on, no matter where I am, whether I'm at work, whether it's the weekend, whether I'm on vacation, whether I'm at the pool with the kids, all of these things need to be done every single day, or I'm going to feel a little bit less than optimal. It's going to make me less efficient getting my priorities done. It's going to make me deal with customers differently. Everything about not getting these things done, checking each one of these 5 things off, if it doesn't get done, I'm not going to be working to my best ability. So at the end of the day, I make sure I have all of these 5 things checked off, and if not, I have to decide whether I'm going to fix that tomorrow. So number 1 is exercise. We all know what exercise, how important it is to you, the effect it can have on your mind, what it can do for your body, your confidence, everything. I do that as early in the morning as possible because, again, this being a priority for me, I know that if I wait until 6, 7 o'clock at night, things get in the way. Kids, friends, work events, whatever is going on, something's going to happen, and I'm not going to be able to work out. So what I do, I get up as early as possible. We wake up at 5:30 in the morning. We're usually downstairs by 6:15, and we're working out for a half an hour, and I'm upstairs in the showers by 5:45 or 6:45, 7 o'clock. The next thing is clean meals. You know that feeling. You eat a pizza, or you eat wings, or you eat some heavy Italian food, or whatever it is, and you feel like crap, right? You feel tired. You have that heavy lunch. You went out with clients, you had that heavy lunch, and you walk back into the office, and all you want to do is take a nap. That's not helping you get your stuff done, right? So you got to realize that's a self-awareness type issue, like we talked about last week, that not only does the poor meal affect you physically, long term, but affects you day in and day out, and how you handle things going on. Do you have indigestion? Do you have a headache? Do you feel slow? That's all possibly from eating poorly. Professional development, I didn't do it for a long time. Professional development has helped me with a lot of where I'm at now, with what I get done, the increases in my efficiency, my understanding of people, myself, and business. So every morning, while we're getting ready for exercising, actually, while we're drinking our coffees, while we take our pre-workout, while we're sitting there, we usually schedule about 20 to 30 minutes of professional development. That could be reading a book. For us, we have some video courses that we subscribe to, so we watch some coaching videos in the morning. So it might be different for you. Maybe it's a 30-minute read before you go to bed at night. Whatever it is, professional development. And I know so many business owners, and you're probably, you might be watching this right now going, wow, it's the last time I read a book, right? I know so many business owners that probably haven't picked up a business book since they left college. And they know what they know, but if you want to get to the next level, which we're talking about here, you got to pick up a book. You got to pick up a coaching session, whatever it is. You got to make yourself a little bit better. That's not just for kids. Do what you got to do. I'm going to skip the fourth one and go to rest right now. Rest for me, it's hard. 7.5 hours is on average what I get. Sometimes it's 5.5 to 6. And that's my fault. And I know that screws me up a lot. You feel tired, not energetic, whatever it is. But it's scientifically proven that if you don't get 8 hours of rest, no matter who you are, people think they can get along without it. But no matter who you are, you're not as efficient, you don't think as clearly, you're not as, you're more temperamental, you're not as patient. It's harder to figure things out. Your problem solving is reduced. So struggle to get that 7.5 to 8 hours. And when you wake up at 5:30 like me, it's incredibly hard to do, especially during hockey season. Go Pens. It's hard, but you got to try to do it. And this is one that I don't check off enough. The last one is positive interactions. And I saved this for last because it's the squishiest. Positive interactions, I'm the kind of person that can probably sit at my desk and not talk to anybody all day, get my work done, and leave the office. But there's a certain fulfillment that comes from having a 10-minute positive conversation with somebody. Whether it's an employee, a friend, make it a point, or even a customer, make it a point to pick up the phone or walk down the hall or be incredibly pleasant with your spouse, your kids, whatever. Have more positive interactions than negative or none. Try to do your best to have a positive interaction. And this is a check mark for me because sometimes at the end of the day, I feel drained. And I know, I need a positive interaction right now. I need a good 15-minute quality conversation about nothing. And that can set you up for a good day tomorrow. If you have it early enough, maybe it boosts you through the day. But have a positive interaction. Be the positive person. I can't stress that one enough, but it's also the cloudiest of what's on there. So to-do list. These are all of the things that you need to get done, but they don't necessarily need to get done today, and they're certainly not more important than the priorities. These are the things like make a phone call, order coffee for the office, or have so-and-so order the coffee, or, we need to order new laptops, whatever it might be. All of these things, it's not the end of the world for it to get pushed to tomorrow. It's also not the end of the world for these things to not happen. They can certainly not happen. And that might be a great way of handling your to-do list, If it's not important, give it to somebody else, or see what happens if it disappears. If it disappears, then maybe it just never needed to happen in the first place. But what you certainly don't want to do is start checking off your to-do list before you've done your priorities. If your to-do list needed to be done before the priorities, they would be priorities, right? That's the purpose of the priority list. That's the purpose. That's the definition of the priority. It's more important than everything else we're doing today. So if you are checking off that to-do list, and this is a trap that everybody falls into, we check off our to-do list and we go, man, I'm getting all this stuff done, and then you've made no progress towards your goals. You've made no progress towards the greater thing that's going on in your life, whether it's personally or for this purpose, your business. You need to get the priorities done. You've identified it as a priority. When you were thinking clearly, when you were sitting down doing this sheet first thing in the morning, or when you were doing it the night before, your priority was the priority, right? So why are we checking off to-do lists? Why are we running to the grocery store? If we don't have any food in the house, well then maybe getting groceries is a priority. But if it's not, don't go do it, right? So focus on the priorities, get the priorities done. Now, that doesn't mean if there's a to-do item that's adjacent to your priority. If you can do the to-do thing while or in conjunction with your priority, go ahead and do it, check it off, whatever. Or if you need a break, maybe your reward is to check off a couple of your to-do things, great. But don't look at quantity over quality. We need to get the quality things done first over the quantity of little to-do items that we have, right? So I think the to-do list is the biggest trap that we run into. We need to make sure that if it's on the to-do list and it is a priority, we need to make it a priority. But if it's not a priority, we need to be able to let it go until tomorrow, or maybe never get done. Focus on the priorities. All right, now we're going to get a little more meta on you here. We're going to get a little more philosophical and a little more squishy. But the I appreciate statement that I make every day, it's part of my motivation. It's what good do I have going on in my life right now? So I write on here, I appreciate, you know what, when we were coming out of winter, I appreciated warmth. I appreciated the sun. I appreciated, being able to get out in a car and put the windows down, right? That's the momentary appreciation for that day. But other times it's my kids. I appreciate my kids. I know today's going to be a rough day. My kids are going to be my anchor. My wife is going to be my anchor. Whatever it is that you appreciate, then think about that for a moment and write it down. And one of the reasons I think this is incredibly important, this is a quote from Tony Robbins. He says, the antidote to fear is gratitude. The antidote to anger is gratitude. You can't feel fear or anger while feeling gratitude at the same time. He says, and when I was watching him deliver this quote, he said it's scientific fact that you can't feel gratitude and anger at the same time. I don't know if that's true. I have certainly no problem trying to prove it to be true. So, start your day off right. Think about the positive things in your life. Be thankful for the things you have in your life. And start your day off that way rather than thinking about all the crap that's going on momentarily. Because in the end, you're not going to be remembered, and you're not going to remember the crap going on in your life. You're going to want to be remembered for the good stuff. You're going to hopefully remember the good stuff, and that's what's going to take you to where you're going next. So, write down what you appreciate in your life. Could be simple. Could be something as simple as the heat. Could be something much more deep or much more important, like your family. It could be your customers too, by the way. I've written that down a couple of times because sometimes you just have that time where you have great customers and you're like, oh my God, thankfully, my customers are so great. And I wrote that down. Today I will enjoy, regardless of what the day looks like, regardless of the crap that you know you're going to have to put up with. Where are you going to take enjoyment out of the day? This can sometimes be an incredibly hard one for me. Sometimes I know I'm going to have conflict. I'm going to have stress. I'm going to have things going on. Maybe I have things going on at home that are stressing me out, but I still need to bring it when I come to the office or bring it when I'm doing happy hour. What am I going to enjoy today? This comes from the appreciation statement. You know, there's a lot of people out there that don't have the advantages that I have or don't have what I have right now. So I appreciate what I have, and then I know even in the worst times, I'm going to find enjoyment in what's going on around me. Again, it can be something as simple as the sun, a beautiful day. I'm going to enjoy a walk outside or a walk to the bank. I'm going to enjoy a conversation with a customer. I'm going to enjoy lunch with a client. I'm going to enjoy, sitting with the employees in the conference room and joking about whatever. I'm going to enjoy getting home and watching the Penguin game with my kid. Today, all of these things I'm going to enjoy. And when something crappy comes up, I'm still going to have those things to enjoy. I've written it down. I am going to enjoy these things no matter what else comes up. I'm going to enjoy this. Now, what am I going to avoid? I'm going to avoid those distractions. I'm going to specifically identify the distractions that are going to happen in my day, and I am going to avoid that stuff. I'm going to avoid checking my email when I'm not scheduled to do so. I'm going to avoid picking up the phone every time somebody calls me because I have things I need to get done for my clients. I'm going to avoid checking Facebook until whenever I decide I feel like I can check it. I am going to avoid getting into conversations about things that don't matter. I'm going to avoid getting into gossip. I'm going to avoid getting into conversations about what happened on TV last night. I'm going to avoid all of those things that I know are going to stop me from making my priorities happen, from checking off that priority list, and even checking off my to-do list. So, real quick, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever you think, even if you're trying to connect with people on LinkedIn, if it's not leading to anything, it's a distraction. It's probably not a priority. Get your priorities done. Netflix. And I put Netflix on there because it's not like you're watching it in the office, but if you're watching it at night, you're watching Netflix until 11:30 at night and you're not getting your rest, you can't check off the rest box because you're too busy watching Netflix or you're not doing your professional development, avoid it. Write down, I am not watching TV tonight until I do my professional development, or I'm going to make sure I get my sleep done. Toxic people. I'm going to avoid toxic people. Somebody starts complaining, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to tell them, hey, look, that's not okay. We can't talk about that. I've had employees here where we've had to sit and say, look, we don't complain about that kind of stuff. I don't want to hear that kind of conversation. So avoid toxic people. And then the last thing for me on here, crappy food. I mean, how often do you just want to grab a bag of Doritos out of the machine or walk across the street and grab a donut? Whatever it is, if you avoid the crappy food, if you avoid, all that garbage and the way you feel after that, good for you and you'll end up better. So, whatever your thing is, whatever you need to avoid, write it down and avoid it. Don't let it happen to you. And then the last thing on this page, today's theme. I wrap this up. Everything that happened, everything that's I've written down on this, what did it all add up to? What is my theme for today, right? Today, maybe it's a trying day, maybe it's a struggle, maybe it's, maybe you have a lot going on and all you're trying to do is make it through the day. Then maybe your theme is just keep moving, just keep getting it done. Maybe your theme is I'm going to be positive today. Maybe you just feel bad and I'm going to be positive. Maybe your theme is I'm going to bring more value to my clients than I brought yesterday. I straight up brought it yesterday and I'm going to double down and bring it again today. Whatever your theme is, whatever is incredibly important to you, whatever the theme of this page is, write it down and use it as a mantra. So when you're walking in the room and you feel something alternative to what your theme was, go back to that theme and think, no, I'm the positive guy today. I'm not this garbage that I feel like right now. I'm the positive guy. Turn it around. Whatever it might be, write it down and live it for that day. And I've even used the same one for an entire week because this is my week to get this major project done. I'm the workhorse. My theme is I'm going to get things done and whatever. So whatever your theme is, write it down and move forward. And the purpose of all of it, I mentioned it before, making success a habit. I challenge you to download this, go to my blog, download this sheet. You can go to the website. We're going to have it up here in a minute. Download this sheet, print out 21 copies of it. Do 3 weeks of this sheet every day, religiously, and see if it changes what you're doing on a daily basis. I guarantee it will. If you stay accountable to it, if you take 15 minutes a day, it can be the most impactful 15 minutes you have to fill this out, identify what's important to you, become self-aware enough to know what's important to you, what's distracting you, and how you need to change your mindset. Live your day according to it, and then review it at the end of the day. I guarantee it, you'll be better off in 3 weeks. And you'll make a habit of it, and you'll have a habit, whether you continue to fill this out or not, you'll have a habit of doing that process in your mind. It'll fall off if you don't continue to do the sheet, though. I've been doing the sheet for a long time now. When I don't do it, I feel like crap. And I know I'm not in the habit. I've broken my habit. I don't schedule my things, and my day is gone. And I know it's the way you feel when you don't work out. You start feeling like garbage. So do it. Give it a shot. It takes 15 minutes of your day. It's free. Download it. It takes 15 minutes of your day, and you will be more effective. I promise you. And that's what this says. Do it every day. Make it a habit. Check your progress. Every night, check your progress. If you didn't do it, analyze why you didn't do it. If you didn't finish your priority, was it not really a priority, or did you not keep it straight in your mind? Did you check off all your to-dos and not get your priorities done? Where's your priorities? Are they in getting those things done, or were your priorities really your to-do list, or are you just fooling yourself with your to-do list? All the mental mindset stuff. Check your progress. Where did you end up? How did you feel? Did you get enough done? If you didn't get enough done, be honest with yourself. So, if you like this, if you want to continue to have conversations about this, log in. Subscribe to this page. We're going to be here every Thursday at 4:30. Download the worksheet at www.snap-fw.com/HH2. You can download the sheet for free. From there, we'll email it straight to you. And try this out. Do it for 3 weeks. And let me know what you think about it. Keep watching. You can check out the blog. All the information's there. Give me some comments as to what you think about what we're talking about. If it's good, if it's bad. If you have an idea for something we should talk about, if you want us to go more in depth, if you have questions, if you want to ask questions on the Facebook, on the live broadcast, go ahead and do it. I'd be happy to hear from you. I need some feedback. Next week, we're going to talk about goal setting. Now that we have our sheet, now that we know how to handle our priorities, we're going to talk about how to figure out what our priorities are, how to set that goal for the long-term goal, and how to bring it back to a daily goal. So, thank you for watching. I appreciate your time you spend with me here. I hope I brought you some value. I hope I helped you out with a little bit. Check out the Shorts Brew Sticky Icky. It's good. Again, that's the extent of my beer reviews. It's either good or bad. And we will see you next week again for Happy Hour with Snap Forward and Nick Boris at 4:30 on Facebook Live. Take care. Bye.